is the Lightning Junkies podcast with your host, Chaz. On this week's episode of the podcast, we have Mario Havel talking about onboarding newbies to Lightning. So this episode was supposed to be uploaded last week in order to help promote Hackers Congress. Some personal life happened in there, and unfortunately, I was kind of incapacitated from like Tuesday to Sunday. And that's definitely not what I wanted. I definitely wanted to be able to do a week turnaround time on this episode and be able to do these two different TV appearances for the Hacker Congress TV thing they had going. Regardless, I still think this is a very good episode where Mario talks about how he helps to onboard people to Bitcoin, to Lightning, using the Decentruck, using Paralelni Polis, and all of that. Reminders, as always, if you want to support the podcast, please consider visiting us at lightningjunkies.net/support, where you can find all kinds of different ways to help support us by donating Bitcoin over Lightning, as well as subscribe to us on the various podcasting platforms and all of that other stuff. Since I'm feeling quite antsy, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump into this episode. I would like to go ahead and welcome Mario to the Lightning Junkies podcast. How are you doing today, Mario?
Pretty good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I wanted to get you on the show. I met you last year at the Lightning conference in Berlin. You know, we interacted briefly at the Decentruck. How do you say that?
Decentruck.
I think, the main reason we have you on the show here is the fact that, similarly what you were doing at the Lightning conference, you're kind of going around and you're being this like little shepherd or something for Lightning, kind of getting newbies onboarded. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, exactly. As you said, we are going around in this Decentruck, but most of the onboarding I did in my life happened actually here in Paralelni Polis in the cafe.
Oh, perfect. I was hoping you were going to say that for me because I have the hardest time actually saying the name of it myself. So that's great. I have heard a lot about that, and I believe you guys are having the Hackers Congress. The listeners are going to hear this a few days before it starts. That's coming next week, right?
Yes, exactly. Hackers Congress is like the biggest event that Paralelni Polis organizes. And I mean, if you're listening to this before the Congress, you still can catch on an online part of the event where you can watch workshops and talks and so on. So I hope you will check it out.
Well, absolutely. So since that's a big thing going on and you've been kind of onboarding a lot of people down there, can you give me like a brief little background on the whole organization kind of thing and how it got started and all that?
Yeah, I would like to talk about that because the point of the whole onboarding is in the philosophy behind Paralelni Polis. So Paralelni Polis, you can call it just Parallel Polis, yeah? This name, you can understand what it means, yeah? It's the idea of Parallel Polis is some kind of parallel society, parallel state. Polis is in this Greek word for the society state. Like, if I can go more a bit far in the history, Paralelni Polis itself is an idea of communist dissident Václav Benda. You might heard about them. Dissidents here during the communism were writing, essays and so on, challenging communist regime. And then, for example, Václav Havel, known for Charter 77, he then became a president of Czech Republic. So one of the dissidents wrote an essay called Paralelni Polis. The idea basically is that in this kind of regime society, like communism, you can't oppose the government, you can't vote for a bit freer future or something. The best way of achieving freedom is through parallel societies, through Paralelni Polis, which is building parallel economy, parallel education, and so on, where we can be free. Classical approach to changing society is trying to change the government. I don't want to change it. I just want to build my own, which is free, and I feel okay there. The history is huge that this idea was picked up by artistic group called Stoven. These guys are from Prague, the Czech Republic, artists and activists who did many crazy and funny things over the last 20 years. 10 years ago, they met hackers from Slovakia who brought idea of crypto anarchy, which I think if you are into Bitcoin and Lightning, you are kind of familiar with. But the idea of crypto anarchy is, let's call it achieving freedom through crypto technologies. When they met, they brought these ideas together, like Paralelni Polis through crypto technologies is like Paralelni Polis 2.0, yeah? That we can achieve this free parallel society thanks to crypto technologies like Bitcoin, yeah? We can have parallel currency used in our parallel economy, which is, first of all, censorship resistant and state free and so on, and not dependent on this central authority that we are trying to be free of. That's the idea that what we are signaling, we want to be the beacon in this, let's call it parallel economy. So in 2014, this lovely building, when you Google it, you will see the first few pictures of the building in Prague. It's a black building, 3 floors, and on the very first floor, when you come in, there is a Bitcoin cafe. And as far as I know, it's the first place in the world which accepts only cryptocurrencies. So we don't take any fiat shitcoins here, only Bitcoin. And that requires a lot of onboarding. This is the idea of onboarding people, that if you want to have a best cafe in Prague, you need to learn how to use Bitcoin. Just to sum up, that's here, cafe. I'm actually downstairs under the cafe. Here is this studio, and next to me is our hackerspace Bordel that we opened recently. And then on the first floor is co-working, and second floor is Institute of Crypto Anarchy, where we do events and meetups. And so the whole place is like basically onboarding machine. Anybody who comes in have to use Bitcoin, so there is always somebody, barista, me, or another crypto guy who will introduce him to the ATM and help him to set up the wallet and buy coffee with it. I love the case. It's a really good case to demonstrate how easy it is to use Bitcoin. Just it takes a few seconds to set up the wallet and get a Bitcoin and pay for a coffee. And while you're drinking it, you can write down your seed and
I think there's a lot to unpack there. So let's take it back a step, I think. You were kind of introducing the idea of the parallel society there. And the thing that kind of came to my mind is the concept of voice and exit. It's like this concept of instead of buying into the system and, electing a new president or anything like that, you're just like, no, I'm going to, say, hey, this stuff sucks, basically, and, go off and exit the system and create my own system over here. That is not what you guys are doing. I'm going to play my own game over here. If you guys want to join me, you can, but we're done with your game kind of thing.
I'm not super familiar with the concept. Basically, that's it. I call it opt-out. I just want to play on my playground, and you left me be free, and I won't mess up with you. In a whole Bitcoin world, you can call it by different names, but the idea that I see is that I want to be free from the status things. So I want to receive my salary in Bitcoin and pay my stuff in Bitcoin, which means that I have to be part of this parallel economy in order to have it. Yeah, I have to have some employer which is able to pay me in Bitcoin, which means that he has to have some customers paying him in Bitcoin and so on. So it's building the economy. I see it, or the parallel. Why is it parallel? Why do I see it like this? I want to focus my productivity into this parallel economy, or let's maybe call it black market. I don't want to say black market like selling guns or something, but this is the paraphrasing of Dirk Pirate Roberts mentioned that in some of the early interviews, that the Silk Road and everything, the idea behind it was very libertarian, that you don't want to support the state with your taxes because the state has a monopoly on oppression, and I don't want to support it. I see it as immoral. More moral thing from my point of view is focus my productivity into, let's call it, parallel economy.
Yeah, I think I would agree with all of that. And I think I'm trying to do that in my own kind of way over here. Like, I don't have a cool hacker's place or hacker's collective or whatever kind of a general name you want to call yourself there. But it's like, I don't have anything cool to go and interact with crypto anarchists over here. I probably actually live in a very leftist place, so it's much harder to find that sort of thing. So I just I kind of hide out amongst all the leftists, and they don't really know that I'm a kind of very libertarian-ish Bitcoiner here. Going off of that topic, though, a little bit, I was kind of thinking, people coming into the coffee shop there, more of the locals, I guess, like I'm kind of interested. What is their opinion? Like less of the crypto anarchist and more of just like a normal person walking down the street. Do you happen to know what the locals think of your place there?
So Paralelni Polis has like 6 years already. The whole project. There was many events where it got into public knowledge. There was many interesting speakers here, which got into media, some campaigns, and so on. So many people, many locals know the place. And I have to say that it's kind of branding thing that when you see this black building and crypto anarchy on that, it might be kind of scary. But what I love about people who don't worry and come in and they're open to the whole thing. For example, there was many new people coming over the past few weeks because we wanted to put a banner on the building, which was to promote a Hackers Congress, the conference. And this city, like the Prague Council, didn't allow us to put our banner on our own building because of the visual smoke or whatever bullshit. So we just put there a banner that says "Kiss or Ass." And it became kind of viral in Czech Republic. So many people were coming in. That's where the onboarding begins. Because now you have here somebody confused that, okay, I just want to have a coffee and why do I need to do the whole Bitcoin thing? It just depends. And there's so many types of people, and somebody is super open and amazed that he can so easily try the technology. Somebody is just bothered that he has to use it.
In those interactions, how do they typically go? Like, do you see more of the people that are open, or do you see more of the, hey, bro, I just want to buy coffee. What is this Bitcoin shit?
I think it's like 50-50. That might be optimistic. Maybe somebody would say otherwise. But I always try to be super optimistic. So even if I see that person might be bothered, I will go to him with a smile and, come on, it's easy. Just set up the wallet and you will enter the parallel society and you will be free in this very moment. So if you joke with the person a bit and explain him just in a few sentences what is the whole concept about, he mostly has no problem to set up the wallet. Actually, over the past few years, we tested so many different approaches to the whole wallet setup thing and onboarding because the technology was, let's say, evolving and circumstances were changing over the past few years. Because like this 5-6 years ago, we were just using Bitcoin on-chain, yeah. The thing that was happening here a lot was paper wallets. That somebody comes in and he doesn't have a phone or don't want to use it or whatever. And the easiest way what you can do is give him a paper wallet. And a paper wallet is basically public and private key, yeah? So he can either print it. I remember 5-6 years ago, there was a machine, just an Arduino with the printer and generating the codes. And it wasn't secure at all or anything, but we were using that. That was like the first instance. Then we create these cards, even with NFC. And so person get this card and he just taps the ATM, put in their money, and he got Bitcoin. Then the problem was that fees for Bitcoin were too high to buy a coffee with that, like 2017 or something. It didn't make sense to pay, I don't know, €2 for coffee if you have to pay €3 in fees. So we switched to Litecoin, which had address structures very similar to Bitcoin. So it was easy to switch. In the past year, I was playing with Lightning here, and I found out that it is the best way how to onboard people.
First, can I give you a bit of shit for taking Litecoin?
Yeah, it was just destined for Bitcoin. Come on.
I think I can kind of understand that a bit, but let's talk about Litecoin for a minute. Do you guys see, shit coins or altcoins in general being I don't know if I want to go here, but just an ideological purity thing that we should be Bitcoin only if we're crypto anarchists, or does crypto anarchy kind of include the idea that you should kind of forge your own path and not necessarily subscribe to any kind of ideology that forces you down a certain path or anything like that?
Well, it's a hard question. As I said, we used Litecoin just for the practical purpose because we couldn't use Bitcoin on-chain for this. And I hated it, but it was the only option at the time. Paralelni Polis isn't or shouldn't be Bitcoin maximalist. I don't even want to call it libertarian, because Paralelni Polis should be about researching opportunities, researching ways how to achieve the free society, not just be focused on some purity and dogmatic stuff. There are mostly Bitcoiners here, also many people involved in Ethereum, but we are not shitcoiners. I would start with that. But the important point is that you shouldn't, or the idea of Polis shouldn't be catching some dogmatic ideology, but searching for ways.
In the last year or so, you said you're starting to get Lightning integrated into all of that. Did you want to go into a bit more detail on how you actually got it in there?
I can mention the process, because so first I started playing with Lightning somehow more, probably 1.5 years ago. One of my goal was to find a way how to use it easily here in the cafe. I was trying to teach people how to use, at the time it was PLW and Eclair. Actually, it was kind of struggle until Phoenix came out. Also, like a year ago, the Bitcoin ATM here, the General Bytes ATMs, they're all over the world. They implemented Lightning finally. Yeah, it was like this time year ago when we really started doing Lightning here.
How much of an uptake have you seen on that? How many people are actually using Lightning versus on-chain Bitcoin? Are you kind of directing them to Lightning?
Well, it depends. Here, like, let's say, members of Paralelni Polis or the people around are mostly using Lightning because they know me, and if I see them using something other than Lightning, I will be just, stare at them really scarily way. No. What I want to say is that it really depends, because somebody comes in and he already has some crypto, some Bitcoin, and he just uses Onchain or even Litecoin. There is still some people using Litecoin because it used to be standard here for like 2 years, I guess. So I am kind of Litecoin to Lightning dumper. They help you to get you better money. It just depends on what community. And at the events, as you mentioned, Decentruck. So this is the one thing that we have a cafe where you can come, and we have all the stuff here. But we also have this truck, which is basically, I call it Paralelni Polis on wheels. It has all the stuff needed for set up the cafe and also do some presentations and talks. So we use it for some conferences and events and festivals, and there we use also General Bytes ATM sometimes, but mostly we use Blaskomat, which is Lightning only, and it's just onboarding machine gun. It's perfect. It's the best onboarding Bitcoin UX I ever experienced, I have to say. Over the past few years, I was onboarding people here.
You were saying you kind of like the process better than even on-chain Bitcoin. Could you contrast, people's responses to it? Maybe when you were saying, "Hey, let's try on-chain Bitcoin" a few years ago, and when you try to get them to onboard with Lightning now.
It's definitely better. People love it. It's also thanks to the Blaskomat machine. So as I mentioned, we started with this a year ago, when General Bytes ATMs implemented Lightning, and then Phoenix wallet came out, and a person in the cafe could just buy from the General Bytes ATM Lightning and pay for the cafe basically instantly. It was nice, easy. And then our friends from Paralelni Polis, Charlie and Carlos, built Blaskomat, which is Lightning ATM, which uses LNURL withdraw. It's perfect. I love it. And it's similar concept to other Lightning ATMs. There is this bunch of these Lightning Haven ATMs. I think there is also a similar one that created by 21 is Enough. But Blaskomat was really a game changer in the onboarding game here. Blaskomat is super simple Lightning ATM. It's offline. It's basically just an Arduino and coin acceptor and banknotes acceptor, and the acceptor tells Arduino how much money you put in. It signs it with the key and show you LNURL. You scan it with your, for example, Phoenix or Wallet of Satoshi wallet, and it's sent request to my server. I'm running on my server own instance of the LNURL, so it's all self-hosted. The LNURL has admin macaron from my node, and if the key is correct, I will send you money. So it's instant, and it's super easy, because in the most of the normal Bitcoin ATMs, you have to click through the whole process, and open your wallet and show your QR code, your address or invoice to the machine. But here it's the opposite way, that it shows you QR code and you just scan it and have it instantly. And it's offline, which is perfect use case for the truck because it's moving and the interconnection always sucks. Yeah, so the whole process actually looks. You can have your Bitcoin in a few seconds. It's lovely. And the last event we did was, I think, 2 weeks ago, and we onboarded, I guess, at least 100, maybe 200 people there, because it's just a line of people and everybody gets Bitcoin. It's perfect. So you just basically come and install the wallet. For Android, we are using Phoenix, and for iOS, wallet of Satoshi, because it knows LN URL. We are looking forward for Phoenix on iOS. You just put their money, scan it, and get it. The most time takes installing the app, actually. And people are just amazed. Wow, this magic internet money, it just works. It's a few seconds, and you can instantly pay with it. Because even if Onchain was pretty good and fast like a few years ago, or even, let's say, Litecoin is faster because it has 2 minutes block time. But this is much, much better because you can immediately spend it. So here on the Bless command, you just get the money, and here on BTC Pay screen, you just scan it and instantly pay. You can instantly spend it and don't have to wait for any confirmation and so on. This was actually the huge issue here, that even if I went through the onboarding process with Onchain, then you have to put your money and wait for the confirmation.
Absolutely. The Lightning ATM definitely sounds like a much better way to onboard. It basically happens within seconds, and then you can go pay in seconds and you're done. No on-chain transaction to receive the ATM deposit or whatever withdrawal. No on-chain to actually pay, right? So that's saving maybe at least 20 minutes, possibly more, depending on where the fee market's at. I'm kind of interested though, because the big part of why I started this show is basically the idea of onboarding to Lightning and the challenges and the happy path, the unhappy path, whatever. I'm seeing the onboarding here as being essentially using a custodial wallet. I know Phoenix isn't technically a custodial wallet, but I'll kind of mainly address Wallet of Satoshi here. Do you feel like it's kind of suboptimal to use or to recommend a custodial wallet to a new user, or do you think that that's just kind of part of the game there?
I don't see it as optimal, especially as a crypto anarchist who really likes his keys in his pocket. When I'm onboarding people, I'm always explaining the concept that this is custodial and it has this dangers and so on. As I mentioned, I'm really looking forward for Phoenix on iOS because I didn't find any other wallet on iOS which could do this LN URL magic so easily as Wallet of Satoshi does. Kudos to them. The wallet is pretty good, but I don't see it as optimal, as ideal that it is custodial. That's why I was kind of negative about Lightning some time ago, because I saw that many people are using custodial services and became normal because of Lightning. I don't really like that, but I hope that better solutions are coming. I really like Phoenix. I don't see it as a custodial because, you have your own keys. The only problem is that you have to rely on async node to open a channel for you. There is no trust in a sense that you can lose all your money because of their fault or something like that. We are still talking about this very first touch, the first 30 seconds, which you can't really explain the whole opening channel concept and whatever to the person who just want to have a coffee. It has to be super easy so everybody can go through that.
That's a very common trope that I've seen in my own life when I've tried to, maybe bug my friends into getting into Bitcoin or to bug them into trying this cool app that I'm obsessed with because I'm into the stuff, is if you can't show them a direct use case or direct advantage to using this technology in like 5 seconds flat, they just turn off and they stop paying attention to you. Do you kind of see this in your experience, basically, where people are like, okay, cool, Bitcoin, great. No, can I get the damn coffee? Like,
yeah, I see it. Many people come, and when I explain the Bitcoin, they will just turn around and go away. But that's cost of doing business for Bitcoin, I guess. I mean, that's the issue that we are fighting in the whole Paralelni Polis for the whole time. My take on that is that if somebody isn't willing to pay attention for a few seconds, then it's just not worth it to do a business, because what I'm selling is, I'm not selling a coffee, I'm selling the freedom. If you don't want to buy that, then we don't have to do business.
You're kind of saying it's going to be easier just to onboard them to a wallet of Satoshi. It's just kind of easier. It's kind of makes the pitch easier. And I would definitely agree. That's basically how I started kind of explaining it to people. And I put out a tweet yesterday or day before kind of explaining, my partner who I'm dating's arc into being a Lightning Network user. They started with wallet of Satoshi, eventually getting Bitcoin Lightning Wallet, BLW, on Android. That one's a bit more advanced, has channels and everything. And kind of moved on to that, and now is sitting at the place where they're, I'm going to be like, I'm going to get you a Raspberry Pi 4 and get you all the parts, and you're going to put together your node. And that's like the next step. Do you kind of witness a kind of similar arc with maybe customers that come in more than once?
Exactly. As I mentioned before, the wallet of Satoshi or Phoenix even is for the first touch. Yeah. Then if somebody is more interested, I will take them to the journey. Bitcoin rabbit hole is pretty deep, so we can go through many wallets and nodes and so on. Actually, here in Paralelni Polis, in Bordel hackerspace next to me, we have this, I call it like community nodes, where many people have their Raspberry here and running safely in the server room. So what I'm also trying to do is help members of community to easily run their node. It's the best thing you can do in the end game to achieve privacy and security and everything, I guess.
I definitely see the challenge being in kind of explaining why someone would need to go to this level of effort in order to do all this. I think most of our listeners probably know why it makes sense, but do you want to kind of just go over it anyway, just to have it out there?
So Bitcoin full node, yeah. So why to have your own node? Because it's the best way of using Bitcoin. Do it today. It's super easy. What you are doing with if your full node is full payment verification. That's why is it called that way. And you are verifying Bitcoin consensus rules. We are running the full client, and with this you can use so much other software. A lot of people start with this be super secure and verify all the payments you won't get. Because maybe some light wallets can be double spent or something because they don't verify all the consensus stuff. But actually, the main reason is the software. What would I call Bitcoin software? And it's so many beautiful stuff that you can have and be easily power user of Bitcoin. So you run a Bitcoin D, the full node implementation client, and then on that you run your Lightning node, LNDC Lightning, whatever, Eclair, and you have machine that's always online, so you can always communicate to that whenever generate invoices. You can run your BTC Pay server on that and easily accept payments as a merchant. You can run Electrum and have a private way of using some light wallets. Yeah, because when you are using some wallet in your phone, you are leaking all your addresses or whatever to the third parties, to some wallet provider, some Electrum server of someone else. And if you set up your own, you can use it and have it self-hosted nicely privately. You can run LNURL server and have your own Blescomat. You can run Samurai Dojo, or you can run so many beautiful things on that. And that's my reason of using Node mostly, that there is so much software around which gives you so many advantages and so many possibilities, so many features, that it's not just a full node, but it opens you the door to so many things.
Right. Yeah, I've noticed that as well. The Node software that I've been using mostly lately is my Node. There's definitely others. Raspberry Blitz. The other one that came out more recently, it's like Umble or something. I might be mispronouncing that.
Yeah, Umbrel, I think. Yeah, I was testing that. It's really nice. I want to use it. I was beta testing that. I actually have it in the room next to me, and I really like it. I think I will use it as some general workshopping about nodes. Like when I will teach people how to use their own node, this is I think the easiest way. What I mostly do, or what I mostly recommend, is crypto anarchy dep or repo builder. You can find it on GitHub under Custodial. It's my friend Martin Habovšťák from Paralelni Polis from Bratislava. I didn't mention that actually we opened in Slovakia. So I'm in Prague in Paralelni Polis. We opened Paralelni Polis similar concept in Bratislava in Slovakia. And it was running almost 2 years, the cafe and everything, but it died because of Corona. So Martin Custodial is from Bratislava. He actually invented turbo channels on Lightning, which, for example, Phoenix Wallet implements that. Created this beautiful repository for Debian, where you can just, when you are using some Debian-based Linux distributions, you know that apt install, he calls it apt install freedom, because with a single command from the repository, you can easily install all of the stuff that you need. So, and everything is like a dependency. So first, Bitcoin D will install and start syncing, then LND, BTC Pay, and self-host engines, and also Tor, so you can put it Onion, so you can put it behind Tor. I have RPC Explorer, so you have your own block explorer. You don't have to use, again, some, Blockstream info or something, so you are not leaking what you're looking for to some third parties. And BTC Pay server is there, and there will be more stuff coming like Wasabi, Dojo, Join Market, and so on. For bit more advanced users, I recommend this, and because it gives you, I think, more freedom than stuff like MyNode, which is really nice and good. And also, why I use it is that it's for architecture. It's not for ARM architecture, because MyNode is, I think, only ARM, only for Raspberries and stuff, and this is AMD 64 normal architecture on your normal Debian machine, which is perfect for me.
The next kind of question I had, I guess, just to kind of cap out the onboarding to Lightning piece of this here, is like, do you have any kind of advice or any kind of knowledge you've built up over the years on how to kind of best onboard people? Is it just to kind of give them that use case, at the coffee shop, or, what is it? How to get more people to get into Bitcoin, to care about the stuff?
Well, that's a really hard question because so many approaches that you can do. I onboard people whenever I am, because I like the topic. Yeah, I like Bitcoin, so I talk about it a lot, and so I'm wherever on maybe some random conference that doesn't even do anything with Bitcoin, but I see that people are open for that. So I start talking and mention that I see it as this opt-out tool. Yeah, this parallel economy, whatever freedom tool. It's super easy. So here we go. Just don't worry. Install Phoenix, and here is your first 100 sats, and I just send it to them instantly, and they have it. If I don't have Bleskmat with me, of course. This is what I do mostly. Even if they don't understand completely, just get their attention a bit, make some jokes, and have them install the wallet, which is just few clicks. When you send them money, people love it. From my experience, I see the smiles where, wow, it's so easy. And so I thought that it's super complicated, whatever Bitcoin thing, but it's just like this, especially in Lightning.
Right, exactly. I want to touch on one other thing that you said here, because you brought up Dread Pirate Roberts. The way that I onboarded to Bitcoin essentially was using Silk Road in 2011. I don't think I understood what I was doing yet. I think I was still very naive and just being like, cool, I can buy weed, on the internet. That's cool. But, obviously later on, I kind of understood just how important Silk Road was, I think, to Bitcoin and to maybe like the, bigger crypto anarchy community. Because it seems like I'm kind of an outsider to that, because I'm not going to claim to be an insider to any of those communities or anything. But it seems to me that like that was maybe one of the best markets that has ever existed. There's definitely been ones that have come after and could be better or whatever. I haven't really played with any of them. I started to know too much, and so I got too paranoid to use them ever again. Do you think that there's any better use case for Bitcoin than basically darknet markets and kind of black markets that, governments and other powerful agencies want to stop you from doing?
Well, I actually touched on that before, that dark markets are a really nice use case, really interesting one. But what my point before was, when I mentioned Dread Pirate Roberts was saying, my point was make your whole economic life a dark market. I don't want to fund state or whatever. I don't want to see any bank, any financial state agency to see how much money I have. I want to have it private and have all my trades made privately. My goal is to use Bitcoin and use it privately. And this is what I see as the best use case. It's basically the dark market case, but it doesn't have to be illegal because from, let's say, a libertarian perspective, dark markets were some kind of free market experiment that we saw completely unregulated markets and it worked nicely. And I see that I can achieve this freedom using crypto wherever I want. Yeah. So as an entrepreneur, I want to earn money only strongly, preferably in Bitcoin, and opt out. Yeah, this is the best case I can see. To explain this concept to somebody completely out of our world, you understood after a few sentences because you know the concept, but somebody completely new, I have to talk at least an hour to convince them that this makes sense. It's not the easiest thing to onboard people with, but I mean, dark markets are definitely more catchy. For an individual, it's the strongest case because it just gives you more freedom. And if people understand this, they will use it.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, I was talking to the Samurai dev guy.
T-Dev?
Yeah, exactly. I was just kind of busting his balls a little bit, kind of saying, so when are you guys going to work on Lightning? He's like, it's not a big priority for us. But he also said, like, the main reason is, like, we're working towards, that kind of ultimate privacy, kind of not necessarily darknet markets, but he kind of did say darknet markets. Jameson Lopp, a couple of years ago, had the idea of having a darknet market kind of built on Lightning. The Samurai guy basically said that when that happens, we're going to start caring about it a lot more. Do you like the concept of like a darknet market, or not even a darknet market per se, but just more markets built using Lightning and having Lightning be this kind of privacy tool and onboarding tool and all these things in one kind of thing?
First of all, it's not easy to do Lightning really privately, at least now. I think the current implementations lack a lot of privacy. As I mentioned before, the repository where you can easily just set up Bitcoin and Lightning node and BTC Pay behind the door. This is the thing. I think you have anonymous identity. You have a way how to easily and almost without fees earn money. So I can imagine that. I'm really in favor of something like that. But I think there is still some way to go to have enough privacy on Lightning. I know that Samurai is not really in favor to develop stuff on Lightning. Not sure why. I know that they mentioned that. I know that with Wabi-Sabi that Wasabi is developing, there might be some interesting features like opening channels from CoinJoin and stuff like this, which would be really nice. But I still think that talking about privacy, there needs to be more privacy-focused implementations because, as I mentioned, I use LND and for example, it was just a few days ago. I was so mad at the LND that I opened the channel and put there as an input more UTXOs than had to. Like, you're opening channel for, 0.1 Bitcoin and put there an input there like 0.2 and 0.1 coin. And why the hell it take 2 coins, So you don't have any coin control, you don't have any real privacy there. And that's still a lot of work, I think.
Right, exactly. So I think we are kind of reaching towards the end of the show here. Do you have anything else you want to kind of let the listeners know, maybe about Hackers Congress or anything like that?
Yeah, come to Paralelni Polis, come to Hackers Congress. I will be glad to welcome you here. If you're listening this around the first weekend of October, check hcpp.cz, which is the website of Hackers Congress, and you can get all the info and tickets even for online part if you can't attend physically. But check Paralelni Polis and come here if it will be possible in the future, because, the whole place can give you interesting experience. And use Lightning, CoinJoin every day, and stay private and don't fund state.
All right. And then finally, how can the listeners find you on Twitter?
You can find me as Tax Me If You Can or Mario Havel. And or you can also find Paralelni Polis and Paralelna Polis on Twitter.
All right, man. Perfect. I really enjoy you joining me on the Lightning Junkies podcast.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for having me. It was a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Boom. That was a 37th episode of the Lightning Junkies podcast. Hopefully you learned something from this episode. Hopefully you have some different thoughts that you didn't have before. And hopefully we can take you to a different place than where you started the podcast. Beyond that, I didn't want to spend too long here in the outro just talking and jibber-jabbering. I just wanted to try to get this podcast out as quickly as possible. Once again, I apologize to Mario and Max and the rest of the folks at Hackers Congress. Bit of my fuck up here. We'll definitely do better in the future. But for now, I'll see you guys on the Lightning Network.